Ruby got diagnosed with with diabetes in February this year, and we've been working with her since then, and that's our life at the moment. Just life sort of goes on as normal, but we've got a little girl with diabetes that we work with every day. I still remember the day she was diagnosed, and the doctor, he ended up telling us the news. He goes, "This is 100% diabetes. There's no ifs or buts. She has type 1 diabetes." I'll never forget when he said those words, how I felt. My heart just sunk, and it sunk for Ruby. And just things start going through your head. How do we manage this, and what are we going to learn along the way?
Ruby is just one of the 1.7 million Australians living with diabetes, and the Cannizzo family are not alone in facing the daily challenges of diabetes. 280 Australians will develop diabetes today. That's one every 5 minutes.
Well, the statistics around diabetes are staggering. Can you believe China has 100 million people with diabetes? India has about 68 million people with diabetes. The numbers are staggering. In Australia, about 1 in 4 of every hospital bed is occupied by someone who's either got diabetes or a diabetes-related complication. The total cost to the Australian community is about $14.6 billion a year. There is no cure for diabetes at the moment. In fact, we still don't know what causes diabetes. Research is critical to finding new ways and better ways to do things. This year alone, through fundraising and generous donations of people, we've been able to allocate over $3.5 million to over 50 research projects across Australia.
So Australia is at the forefront of both the management and research of diabetes in the world. I'm an associate professor and a researcher at the University of Melbourne in the Department of Medicine, and my role here is to lead the team to do research to understand what causes diabetes. We have made significant progress in treatment strategies and treatment algorithms to manage diabetes better. Diabetes Australia has done an amazing job in being able to support research not only in our lab but other labs around Australia that do research in diabetes.
Diabetes Australia has been really pivotal for me in my research. In fact, it was one of the first grants I ever got as an independent scientist.
The Australian Centre for Behavioural Research in Diabetes is the first centre in Australia and internationally to have a research focus on the psychological, behavioural and social aspects of living with the condition.
Diabetes Australia is committed to raising awareness and challenging misconceptions surrounding all types of diabetes. For Ruby and her family, the effects of diabetes have been life-changing.
Yeah, we didn't really know the depth of it and how intense it is and how continuous it is. So it was a big learning curve when Ruby first got diagnosed. So Ruby has to test her blood sugar levels every day, up to 4 times a day or even more sometimes, before every meal. And then she's got this little finger pricker. She draws some blood out, which she's very brave about. Ruby started injecting herself the day she came home from hospital. So she spent 6 days in hospital. The day that she came home, she started doing her own injections from there.
At the start I was nervous, and now I'm more confident about doing them.
There's so many things on your mind constantly. I remember when she was first diagnosed and our first weekend as a family outing, and I remember saying to Ange, I just wish you could have weekends off.
We offer a range of programs and services for people living with diabetes, depending on the age or stage of their life. For kids living with type 1 diabetes, we offer camps, which are a really terrific opportunity for them to meet other children living with diabetes. Camps are all about adventure and having a really great time, and diabetes is kind of just on the side.
Diabetes Australia actually lobbied 27 years ago to create the National Diabetes Services Scheme, and this was a world first. We now have nearly 1.2 million Australians registered to the scheme. In the past year alone, that's meant we've provided over 5 million self-monitoring products to those people to help them daily monitor their blood glucose. Over 2 million information and education resources have been provided, and over 300,000 telephone calls have been responded to provide daily support.
In Australia, there are currently 2.2 million people at high risk of developing type 2 diabetes. More than half of these cases could be prevented or delayed.
So healthy eating is very much involved in the prevention of type 2 diabetes. Leading a healthy lifestyle by getting enough sleep, eating the right foods, and also being more active.
The prevalence of diabetes amongst Aboriginal communities in Australia is 3 times that of non-Aboriginal communities. We need to reduce that, and we need to reduce it quickly. We consult with and collaborate with Aboriginal communities. We are particularly aware of being culturally sensitive, and therefore we have developed resources that are appropriate, such as our acclaimed Felt Man and Felt Mum resources, which describe how diabetes affects different parts of the human anatomy.
Understanding the process which causes diabetes, we will be able to intervene a lot more effectively. And I do see one day that we will be able to provide a cure for both type 2 and type 1 diabetes.
So to tackle such a big problem, we need big hearts, big minds, and a big investment.
With the generous support of donors and sponsors, Diabetes Australia provides ongoing support to families like the Cannizzos.
So I think the messages for other families is if you do know someone who has diabetes, please have a conversation with them. You know, don't just accept, they've got diabetes and they just do their thing. Sometimes they need a bit of support and they mightn't ask for it.
And have a bit of respect for the people that are living with it, because it is certainly a 24-hour day, 7-day-a-week disease that they never get a break from.
We have a strategic plan and we've got a number of priority areas. The first is to focus on people who've got diabetes. We also work hard on advocating for those people with diabetes, so being their voice, being in Canberra in the Parliament House and talking about diabetes and making our leaders in Australia, our political leaders, our business leaders, our community leaders all understand this diabetes problem and take it seriously.
Without the help of Diabetes Australia and the Diabetes Australia research program, the research that we'd be doing in this lab wouldn't exist.
For the people who have the disease, I think what the research gives is some hope that there is a community of people that lives are focused on trying to understand these diseases.
The work that we're doing is having a real impact on people's lives.
We work successfully and well with the corporate sector of Australia. I'm a health economist. I understand the economic implications of diabetes. We know that statistically 1 in 3 Australians is going to be diagnosed with diabetes in their lifetime. That's 1 in 3 of all employees. That's 1 in 3 of all customers.
Diabetes Australia's vision is a world free from diabetes, and we won't stop until we've achieved that.